that, guys, it looks like this game one has just opened up. So let's go ahead and spectate MrRishi first, and then we'll head over to snrplat.
Sounds like a plan. Getting in here, we're well acquainted with both players' teams at this point in time. So real question here is, what are both players going to be banning in their first bits here? Rishi, obviously, I feel like you got to prioritize the Nagai's ban, and there it is, the Flash Nagai's ban. Don't let that 𝗬𝗬𝗺 anywhere near your speed-oriented team that you're throwing into Platt here, which is another fun thing about Platt's team. Like, if you're running fast things like this, it's very easy for Platt to anticipate. You're going to ban the Nagai's. I get these tools against you.
Yeah, and it's funny because you do have effective damage into it, but as you said, speed is the name of the game for MrRishi, so he wouldn't dare let that slide through. So let's see what snrplat feels like is the most problematic Tem. Of course, most likely one of these win Temtems, and the most prominent win Temtem might just be Grandpa himself, but 𝗬𝗵 is half effective into those toxic techniques and most likely running the bait gear, so that does get the ban. But starting off with win Temtem number 1, it will be that 𝗬𝗀. How will snrplat respond?
See, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you ban 𝗬𝗵 if you're still betting on 𝗬𝗪 coin, because that CPG would absolutely eviscerate the croc. So getting rid of that early makes sense for Platt here. It still leaves that open as a win con, even if he's not leading with it. That said, he's leading Okranox 𝗬𝗪, and that means we might very well be seeing Sting Late Torment come into play at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, and there's really nothing you can do about that. I mean, anything you swap into, unfortunately, you will have to bear the force of that 1-2 punch. I mean, you have the 1 mental already. You could maybe swap into Minotaur, but if you're already locked in, maybe that Soul Steam, the following turn might just be too much pressure on that spot. But let's see how it does play out. It looks quite interesting, but as you mentioned, that late Torment coming in hot as early as that opening turn. Taranak maybe pretty good overall, probably pretty good against the roader, I'm thinking. I'm not too sure if it's no, it is a physical, right? I think Outgrowth is a physical technique, or is it special?
It is
okay.
It's physical.
Nice.
So this does mean that you get a nice consistent set on your Taranak as a result. So once again, we see the draft just brush by us there. We do have, of course, the 𝗬𝗪 here is kind of like an offsetter, which, you know, it's important to bring up here because that is going to have some good value into the 𝗬𝗪. Likely just going for a stare in this turn 1 because it's burned as well. Makes a lot of sense. It's fat burner as well, so we got a speedy boy here. More than capable of dropping some hypnos out as well, I imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine so as well, but I agree with that. I do think a stare coming in. Unfortunately, you don't have a follow-up physical technique because of that 𝗬𝗀 there. And, you know, I'm trying to see, is there a proper swap out, or do you just try to get a stare on either of these Temtems? I'm looking at the back line. I feel like you have a tougher time. I mean, I want to say Okranox is a little bit tougher, but of course, 𝗬𝗪 is another behemoth of a Temtem, so possibly I couldn't disagree with that. But as we said, Sting going off first, adding that cobweb effect, removing the burn, actually. I don't know if that's going to end up mattering, but let's take a look.
We see the Bamboozle come in onto the Tolkien, so this did appear to be anticipating the Sting, but instead we see that Platt's just going straight for Value Town here, trying to slam into 𝗬𝗪 there, but we do see 𝗬𝗪's a chonky boy and is absolutely capable of just kind of weathering that resisted hit. It's important to bear in mind that, you know, 𝗬𝗪 is still capable of dishing out some massive damage, but 𝗬𝗪 has, thanks to its bulk improvements, are pretty effective there.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it is resistance to that late Torment, but 𝗬𝗪 is looking solid. Only taking about 40%, so another double up like that is not enough. And you can't say the same thing about the Okranox. Tornado is online, so on his way out, unless he swaps out. It looks like he's going to be swapping out the 𝗬𝗪 for the Taranak. Does the Okranox stay in? I would imagine... Oh, wait, the Venom Spread. I thought he was going for a Toxic Shower to protect himself, but the Intimidator... No, wait a second. It's just going to be another Wind Burst?
Alright, so we do see the Hypno gets whiffed onto the bait Taranak, another spicy one there, and that is the Wind Burst that we see coming out there onto the Okranox. I mean, it kind of did its job there. It got a little bit of value into the 𝗬𝗪. Not really the best trade for Platt, but, you know, you're doing what you can here. Meanwhile, Rishi, of course, grabbing this game by the horns and pushing. Definitely keeping the Tolkien safe from some early pressure, even though Platt kind of read that and still tried to get some value off of it. You know, going for suboptimal targets means you do suboptimal damage, as we saw in that turn 1. Even the turn 2 with the Venom Spread, really powerful play, not quite a KO, so it does mean that Platt is now playing from the back foot.
Yeah, that's just a little ode to how 𝗬𝗵𝗶 can be built, right? Naturally a little bit tankier on that side. But yeah, usually I wouldn't say a Sting into a late tournament into a Venom Spread. That takes down the majority of normal Temtems, but 𝗲𝗺, he is not here to mess around, and Rishi is here to prove that, right? But let's see, now the tornado is online for that Acronite. Is there a world where you throw it in? Because, you know, I think we saw something like a water cannon and a thunder strike from the spider. So it has all the tools available to him to take down both of these Temtems. So where does he want to focus in on?
We do see the fire tornado landing in on the Taranak, and importantly, there's a bit of a whiff here from Platt as well. The adaptive not proccing on his Arachnite means that 𝗬𝗺 does still wind up living that water cannon. Doesn't really matter, you know, we get the Meteor Swarm off here, so Chip will be weathering it down at long last, but it's unfortunate missing that +2 attack, +2 special attack on Arachnite. It's just so much extra value that you get for basically nothing. Granted, you know, the mental type might have been a bit of a problem there. Minotaur certainly could have taken advantage of that, but I mean, you're being able to throw back in with, like, you know, crystal spikes. That's still another move that Arachnite has. Just has all the good stabs.
Yeah, now this point of the game being our grand finals, I wonder if MrRishi knows exactly the 4 moves that snrplat is working with, right? We saw water cannon, we saw T-strike. I don't recall seeing, I think we saw Cozy Net, but the sparkling bullet will go first, and it is the Sea Spike. So Minotaur still survives though, because it didn't have the adaptive hit just yet.
Yup, and fortunately the combo will be taking down the Minotaur, but there we are. The Arachnite still got its value off, as despite some early trades here, Rishi's getting some pushback here. That said, the Arachnite is now kind of hanging on by a thread. The Taranak is still going strong, honestly. Bait meant that it's been able to just pour out these high stand moves and not really give 2 hoots. Obviously, we still have a Tataru and a Tolkien, some pretty heavy hitters here. The Tolkien's looking really strong into a lot of this, but now with both mentals down, this Ylr's looking a lot juicier here, plus.
Oh, 100% juicy indeed. And you know, he still has something that can lock in Temtems, like that outgrow from that Taranak, right? So you still have that late tournament potential, but even then, I don't even think you need it, right? Savage Suplex clinch, that might just be enough to do the job. But let's see here. I think the Acronite is on his way out. And you know, unlike snrplat, who has a plethora of toxic Temtems, MrRishi doesn't have a single one, so you're just gonna have to brute force your way down on this Taranak because you don't have effective damage, and that might be a little bit easier said than done. But let's see. I do think the Acronite might be on his way, but interesting. The Rotor stepping out, maybe anticipating that nature technique coming in comes that Firebird.
Yep, there it is. We are going to see another Crystal Spikes just drop into the Tataru for a little bit of extra damage there. At this point, I think Arachnite's just taking advantage of the fact that it was alive for an extra turn. Just get that little bit of extra priority chip in. And, you know, it's value. You got a little bit of extra damage on Tataru, which is, you certainly want to be damaging. And as you said, we get our Outgrowth off this turn. So that means that both Tems are trapped for the next turn. I mean, the Ylr has a free board to start late tormenting into.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, in hindsight, maybe it was better to leave the spider alone, let it overexert, and then focus down the Taranak so that you don't allow a free Ylr in here, right? So of course, everything much easier in hindsight. But yeah, that could have ended up working out a little bit better because the spider did end up overexerting. And now this is just a free board for this Ylr. Since the Yggdrasil is in that back line, I'm willing to bet that snrplat might be focusing all his attention on that Toucan here.
Well, we will be seeing Rishi attempt to get what he can out of this. It looks like he does have a kill fixed on the Taranak. Meteor Swarm is going to pop off first, though. Looks like it is going to be, what, like a Held Anger off from Bridget. I think that's online. The late Torment will be coming down first, though. We'll be taking down the Tolkien for good measure there. Will we see a Retributive Strike here? Bring Platt down to 2 Temtems as well. No, we see a rest from the Tataru. We got to wonder whether that was intentional or not.
It wasn't that low on stamina, right? I think he could.
Yeah, no, it was like 50%.
Yeah, I thought so. I think he could have closed it on the Taranak. I wonder, as you mentioned, was it intentional? I don't think he ran out of time. But yeah, it's MrRishi. It had to be intentional. Maybe just trying to save as much stamina as possible. But Taranak could have been eliminated. It could have just not been... maybe he just wanted to not have the Ninjutsu come in, right? This could have been more strategic kind of play.
Oh, that actually makes a certain degree of sense, but we are still dealing with a heavy amount of offense from this Taranak. We do see Toughen come out from Yowler as well. They're getting up to +4 defense against these 2 Tems there. With the Hibernate available this turn, this coming turn as well, that means that Platt is just digging his heels in here. So if the Taranak's going to be staying on the board at like basically no percentage here, then you got to make sure that you're able to hit back into it. I know that not a lot of people are really considering execution now. I don't expect to see that on Rishi's roller here. So we instead just see Platt swap out the Yowler, not risk the Hibernate this turn, and just drop in the lunge to sap the momentum away from Rishi. I guess that is another reason why we could have seen the Tataru rest there, anticipating the lunge.
Oh, yeah, well said. That probably was most likely the case. And oh, the Ninjutsu just coming in at this time and already find himself virtually 60% down. Tardy Rush will be coming online now. So this rotor is ready to rock and roll. Going on the Taranak most likely takes it all the way down. But this Ninjutsu, I was thinking it was going to be quite the troublesome Temtem for the side of Rishi. But now, looking at it at 40%, it feels like Rishi, with this rotor, could be looking quite good. But that +4 defense in the back line and Hibernate still available to it, right? So perhaps it might just come down to the quote-unquote kings of the meta right now. Yowler v Rotor. I'm not too sure, though. We'll see. Maybe another Temtem might come into play, too.
Well, I'm not counting the Tataru out just yet. I mean, there is probably a Actually, hold on. I don't know whether Platt runs Narcoleptic Hit. I kind of just assume it's on a lot of Ninjutsus because it's such a valuable utility move. But, like, I haven't seen the full move set from this Nid yet. I don't necessarily know what it's packing. So, like, we've yet to see everything that's going to happen here. We do see the Taranak immediately get bopped, though. It's lived for long enough. The Ace Spread's going to be getting some cheeky value onto both of these now very low stamina Tems. And it looks like the Tataru is resting once again, trying to make sure it has the stam to use some of those juicy high damage techniques that Tataru has come to be known for.
Yeah, exactly right. Major Slash back online, trying to look at either of these Temtems. Of course, you're going to get more across on the Ninjutsu, but perhaps the priority should be on the Yowler, and it looks like that's what MrRishi has in mind. So Drill Impact down to 18. Does the Major Slash close it out? I think so.
It does not. 0.8%. The Hibernate is available, but he does not even go for it. He goes for a Savage Suplex onto the roller instead, taking off the poison ticks, but still doing a pretty sizable amount of damage to it. The Tataru is down. The roller is, I believe, overexerted, and that is a game for Senior Platt. Our first one goes to him. Now that I think about it, we haven't seen all of this Yowler's moves. If it's running Clinch, maybe it's not even running Hibernate. Do we think this is just like a throw it down mid sort of Yowler?
So I have seen him play something interesting in the past. I've saw Mattgia working with Clinch, Savage Suplex, Late Torment, and I did see the Toughen in this tournament, but I've seen him actually have a little spice with Oshi-Dashi in the past, but perhaps he's not running it in this tournament though.
Okay, so yeah, no, he really is not committed to the recovery option on Yowler, which means that rather than like, you know, a late game monster threat, it's just, you know, as we've seen, a solid, chunky, oppressive Tem that's just going to drop down and take advantage of the fact that it's kind of hard to beat it into place while it's busy hitting you. So with that in mind, we do see this draft once again rocketing through here. Nagai's Taranak banned on Platt's side. Tuvine and Grandpa both bopped on Rishi's side. We are feeling the pain on wins. We see Tolkien grabbed, though. Will we see the 𝗀𝗚𝗚 as well? Will we see a continuation of the plan to bring 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Tataru instead?
Yeah, let's see. And oh, okay, I was about to say, if he immediately beat Tataru, he didn't even consider the 𝗀𝗚𝗚, which is funny, but there we go. 𝗀𝗚𝗚 does indeed get picked up. It looks like it does a good amount of damage to a lot of those Temtems, the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Acronox in particular. But you know, the Yowler ended up winning the game for snrplat, and it does get picked up. You know, that is tough. I would almost think you had to ban the Yowler, but perhaps that wasn't a bigger threat. So we'll see. It is our game number 2 of these grand finals. Can Rishi, who has time and time again come back from this 1-game deficit, he could do it one more time, but we all know Senor is just a little bit different sometimes, right? A little bit different of a tamer, always catching some crazy reads, and it's interesting because oh, never mind, I'm thinking about the previous game. I was saying that the Nagai's play was red, but no, I'm over here tripping. The semifinals, that was
I mean, the big challenge here is Rishi has fewer ways to really punish the Nagais. The only thing that really hits at low prio is Rolder, and that's not going to be one-shotting the Nagais in the same way, which is unfortunate. I think, once again, the fact that Rishi is pigeonholed into a position where he kind of has to ban the Nagais in draft turn 1, like on first ban, leaves Platt with a much more open draft that he's been able to take advantage of here. And with that in our sort of round 1 here, I think that, you know, the Garunder immediately dabbing and sort of like, I think the Yowler can just kind of pop in here. Arachnite, no, Arachnite's already on the board. Has to be the Yowler.
Yeah, I believe so, but oh, being a little bit ballsy here. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 in front of a Tokon, maybe expecting it to leave or just trying to get that mom's lunch value. The 𝗏𝗶𝗏𝗏, look at that, virtually 50% down. Add a little drill impact, and this 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is not feeling so confident. I'm wondering if he was just willing to throw that 𝗏𝗏𝗏 away. Perhaps he didn't want damage on his Yowler just yet, right? It was a potential win condition the previous game. So, interesting enough, preserving that HP and letting the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 go, per se.
I think one of the things he was gambling on was Rishi perhaps committing to the Stone Ball and ruining the stamina of this Rolder even more. Getting the lunch swap just to get the stamina drain on Tems that are really stamina hungry like Rolder can be something of a power play. So perhaps that's what Platt was looking for there.
Yeah, very well said. Absolutely, right? It does do effective damage on the Garunder. So yeah, that could have been what snrplat had in mind. So proper read for MrRishi, just trying to cover it all, just doing neutral damage. And a win attack is also neutral damage as well because of that toxic typing in Garunder. So well done, well done. Now just a single wind burst. I'm pretty sure the first one did over 40%, so one more wind burst will take it down. But instead, now the Yowler making an appearance. And is 𝗂𝗀𝗃 online? I don't know if it's a 1-turn or 2-turn hold.
It is online. I don't know whether this Arachnite runs it though, but oh nope, there it is. As if on cue, you are indeed correct. 𝗂𝗀𝗃's dropping in onto that Tolkien. It will be out of the count for another 2 turns. So that's always a spectacular thing to see. Not going to be out of the count in terms of the Synergy Rockfall, though, which will be triggering adaptive, but also that extra turn of burn there is going to be so valuable for Rishi trying to reposition inside this. Not much you can do with the token, though, unless you've got some way to double status it.
Yeah, 100%. That burn does end up making a world of difference. That late Torment coming in now would have been quite impactful on that Tokon, but now it has a nice little 30% reduction. So well done. It looks like Rishi finding his footing in this game number 2 and trying to punish down snrplat ASAP, right? The Yowler virtually down here, and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 in the back line all the way in those 35 percentile. So yeah, little by little, snrplat just making a big differential in these total HP pools. Well done. And you know, wait a minute. Why wasn't the Yowler affected by the 𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗃? Am I missing something? Because I thought it was a AoE attack.
Oh no, it's single target.
Ah, that's what it is. For some reason I thought it was it, but maybe I missed all the previous game. But alright, the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 does come in, and Yowler trying to preserve a little bit more HP down the line. The Acronox coming in now. So hey, taking advantage that the Tokon will be sleeping, but the Water Cannon with that toxic synergy with those extra 2 ticks.
Yeah, once again, we're going to see the poison tanks get some pretty good value here, and Platt is definitely taking advantage of the fact that this Tolkien isn't presently capable of putting up as much of a fight here. That's about to change, though. This Valiar can very easily just bamboozle the Tolkien, as we saw in the previous game, which would wake it up, even if it's trapped. It's still fully capable of fragging, and that's precisely what we see this turn. We do see the Toxin Shower pop off, however, so the Acronox will at least be protected here, but a Tornado in on Arachnite, that's got a lot of potential.
I think so as well. He probably went for the Wind Burst just to not outspeed that Bamboozle, but the Water Cannon, how much can it do? All the way to 36, not too shabby, and a little bit more adding those Toxic Ticks, but unfortunately it did have to overexert to get that across. But as you mentioned in the past, Tornado still online. This Acronox not feeling safe whatsoever. Let's take a look at the back line. And oh, there's not too much ideal swaps, right? The Yowler already at half HP. The Garunder takes solid neutral damage on that technique as well. And look
it is thick skin, if I recall.
Oh, true. Because, yeah, he did rest and he didn't get any defense, right?
Yeah, so maybe that's a better swap than we're thinking here. I still agree that, like, you don't want to take an actual Tornado off of that. That probably is still going to smart a bit, but, like, maybe that's the out.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think you want to keep the Acronox because you at least want some effective damage on something like the Minotaur in the back line. But the Spider running out of stamina, trying to make sure you have some pressure the following turn in case no damage was coming in. But oh, the Venom spread outspeeding the Tornado. That is right. We did see this Acronox was faster, right? So nice understanding of those speeds and no Tornadoes this time. Well done. It looks like the Hypnosis will put it to rest for this turn and the following, but that was big. Neglecting the Tornado was a big momentum swing for Mattgia.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to respond back with that, it can be easy to forget how fast Acronox can be with its Venom spread. It rocks a pretty respectable base speed, but that 3 prio just jacks it up into the, like, hyper zone. Can be kind of an intimidating thing to deal with when you're used to be like having the luxury of using your 2 prios against Tems like that, especially against players that are like running slower like Platt. Kind of lulls you into a false sense of security with it. Still though, obviously very well played there, as we do see a full reposition into the Rolder that's just gonna start getting purgationed. We're on to plan B with Rishi, and the suplex is dropping into that spot.
Yeah, not too bad. Making sure, I thought it was going to be like a little sparkling bullet, but that doesn't seem to be doing too much damage across. But now things like that Earth Synergized Black Hole will be online. And I dare say a little goring into that Black Hole on the Yowler side should be more than enough to take it all the way down. So Mattgia has to be a bit careful on the right-hand side. But, you know, the bigger threat might just be this Acronox, right? We said it before, it is already bright and awake. So that Soil Steam potentially coming into that Minotaur's direction, I don't think is enough at 100%, but still, that is a massive amount of damage potential. So does MrRishi want to leave it in, or does he have plans for the Lowali or the Valiar in the back line?
It's always an awkward one from this point. The Acronox is at full HP, so you are totally taking this Soil Steam, and just taking that -2 speed on the nose can be such a paralyzing thing. And as we see here, Rishi opts to not go for it. Instead, just sort of staying in and weathering this storm, perhaps trying to get another cheeky purgation off. Nope, it's a Black Hole onto the Yowler, just trying to make hay while the sun shines here, and slams into that Yowler, taking it down, stopping the late Torment from coming in onto this Rolder, which will be goring, as you suggested.
Yeah, that's exactly what snrplat had in mind, right? He was going for that late Torment play, but unbelievable. That Minotaur packs such a punch. The Yowler doesn't go down that easy, as we saw in the past, but this time it did not have that +4 defense, of course, so it does get brought down from that massive 45%. Well done to Rishi. That was a huge play, because now that the Yowler fell, the Goring ended up hitting the Acronox, of course. So now Acronox a little bit on death's door as well. Perhaps a little 1-2 punch again, a sparkling bullet into a drill impact. I know it's ineffective damage, but based off how much that Goring did, there is a little bit of a possibility. But maybe better off saving it for the Acronite, that Minotaur. We'll see.
It's a rough one. Normally, I'd say this is like the part where you double down and just go ham into like buffing Rolder, but Rolder's exhausted. It has literally one move left in it thanks to the exhaust. We do see the drill impact just bops that Nindrasil though. Once again, getting rid of things that can actually do super effective damage to your Rolder. Even though it's hanging by a thread, it can still put in a lot of work.
Yeah, and that it has. I mean, the Rotor with the Purgation, we have already known from the past, Rotor has packed a massive amount of punches, and add 50% on top of that, Purgation just makes this a whole nother beast, right? Rotor just back-to-back pressuring down these Temtems on snrplat side, and of course, things like Held Anger are back online, things like Goring are back online, and that is still a +2 attack, so I'm pretty sure Tardy Rush is active as of right now. So where does he want to throw it? I'm pretty sure he should have the speed. With that said though, Acronox is at +1. But hey, Tardy Rush is almost like a +4 speed, right? And I do think it's
you're
online,
not wrong.
unless it's not.
I don't remember seeing the proc. We do see him. Oh, I actually, hold on. Are we sure that Rishi is even on Tardy Rush?
You know, we wouldn't know because snrplat doesn't run any wind Temtems.
I mean, there we go. Still, though, we do see it swap as the Valiar will be coming in to eat the Sting, and also a Crystal Spikes is just going to delete this Minotaur, showing that the flow is happening in this ebb and flow here, and usually that like backswing here is when Platt starts getting all that value back. We see fewer things now are online for Platt's Tem in the back line here. The Lohali has hit the field, but Garunder in the back, kind of licking its chops.
I think
Rolder
so.
has no HP, same with Valiar.
Yeah, well said, well said. It looks like slowly but surely this match was looking favorable for MrRishi, but now with only one healthy Temtem and one healthy counter Temtem on snrplat, it is looking a bit dire, I will say. But now the Acronite has that 3 priority Crystal Spikes for the locked in Valiar, so I don't think the Valiar, even with the Fat Burner, should be fast enough. And oh, speaking of the big old croc, it does make an appearance here as it swamps in, but the Plague goes first and it is enough. Forget the Crystal Spikes. Wait a second.
With the Bamboozle stabilizing the Valiar, meaning it's not going down to that poison tick, Rishi's showing that Platt's going to need to actually commit to some of these hits to make sure that he's out for the count, as now he has a Hypoxia or a Gust available for the Acronox. The Toxin Shower will be coming in. That's going to be some good damage against the Lohali. High special defense, though, means that's not going to be more than 30%. The Hypnosis will be whiffing onto that, but that was just to make sure that the Acronox goes down to this Hypoxia.
Yeah, incredible stuff. So Rishi not letting go of this endgame here. I was almost certain that the 3 prior would kill, but the Garunder making sure the Valiar is done supporting those allies. No more Bamboozle. And now the Rotor at +2 attack. And it doesn't have Tardy Rush online, but he never clicked Goring, right? So Goring should be looking like 30-40% damage on this Garunder. And Piezoelectric Blow perhaps online right now. But you're obviously thinking about Wastewater on the Lohali instead. But Lohali should be the faster Temtem. So is there a world where Rishi just closes things out right here in this turn number 12?
I mean, how is Lohali doing damage to the Garunder here? I feel like the big problem is the Rolder here for Platt. So yeah, it makes a lot more sense for him to waste water into this Rolder and get it to die by a tick, meaning it's only going to be doing 1 big damage into it. And there's the Rockfall. That Rockfall is absolutely smashing into the Garunder. This is how Rishi wins this game. I was really hoping that that came out there, because now, of course, that taking like the majority of Garunder's health. Now Lohali can clean up. Thick skin or no?
Yeah, thick skin, the Plague just doing a bit more, but wait a second, it was the Wastewater just enough. And oh, wait a minute, Toxic Fang doing about a half of what it had remaining, and we see the Plague goes first every time. It did not overexert. I'm pretty sure it did 6%, but the Piezo outspeeding. Wait a second.
Platt leaving it till last minute. just at the end there, sneaking in with that prio hit. Sorry to cut you off there. You go ahead.
Yeah, no worries at all. I was just excited about what just went down, guys. We have ourselves a champion for our Plus Tournament 55, and his name is Mattgia. Congratulations, guys. Unbelievable. I was so...